If you walk down East 2nd Street in between 1st and 2nd Avenue in Manhattan, you'll come across a quaint cemetery. Positioned right opposite a church and surrounded by buildings on 3 of its 4 sides lies the New York City Marble Cemetery. It is a historic landmark founded in 1831 and is one of the oldest non-sectarian cemeteries in the city. It holds over 250 vaults for the dead, all of which were made out of Tuckahoe marble, and is home to many prominent New York City figures. This includes former Mayor Stephen Allen, as well as the founder of the New York City Public Library and Presbyterian Hospital, James Allen. As you approach the cemetery, the thing that stands out the most are the large wrought iron gates that cordon off the area. The gates are locked shut and the space is seemingly closed off to the public. Upon further research, it seems that the cemetery used to open twice a year for visitors, but following the COVID-19 pandemic, has remained closed until further notice. The landmark encapsulates a stunning contrast between life and death, and can be used as a perfect example of what Michel Foucault describes as a heterotopia. A heterotopia is a space that is othered, strange, uncomfortable, liminal, and contradictory. Foucault lays out various principles of heterotopias that this built space adheres to. It juxtaposes 2 incompatible things, namely life and death. The ornate marble grave markers contrast the lively, lush garden that surrounds it. Its landmark status, coupled with it being locked off to the visitors, makes the space both public and private. Wooden benches are spread out around the grounds and offer a space of comfort, refuge, and reflection for potential visitors. As passers-by watch me rake my hands through the iron gates to film this space, they too stop to look, to reminisce, to mourn, to think. Cemeteries in general inscribe a certain behavior similar to that of museums. One must stroll, stare, and reflect. The graves themselves are rather organized in a grid-like structure much like the rest of New York. The map on the official website lists 7 rows and 39 columns of graves. Each grave has a significant amount of space around its perimeter to allow for easy mapping and visitation. Without the grave markers, the space is a lively garden, a creation to recall the myth of Eden, the dream of paradise, and the goal of heaven. Birds and squirrels have reclaimed the land as their own and enjoy this ecosystem that death has given rise to. The New York City Marble Cemetery is a perfect example of a heterotopic space. In all of its contradictions and all of its liminality, the space becomes its own entire universe within our universe.